You're crazy. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I?
Katie Hopkins, the troll of all trolls, the bitch that everyone loves to hate, so forth and so on. And to be honest with you, I don't really respond to her Twitter, but I do follow her because I do feel that, it's one thing to, how does the phrase go? Keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer, or something like that. Yeah, and a lot of people out there will, they have this idea that if you just ignore her, she'll go away, or that, if we stop following her, then she'll back down and whatever, which is true. Don't get me wrong, that's true. But the thing is, she's got too many followers that do believe her, yeah? And for me, sometimes it's a matter of, if you don't challenge some things, yeah, how the people that are making the mad claims, yeah, how they perceive it or how they receive it is that if you don't challenge them, then they accept it as a truth. You know what I mean? It's like, if they make a mad claim about something and then you just kind of walk away, you go, oh, sorry, I'm not even listening to you, blah, blah, blah. They just accept a win, or look at it as you're being defeatist. And therefore, they kind of like bounce off that as a victory for them. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel that, it's a good idea to challenge sometimes, yeah? And there's a tweet that she put out that it was basically 3 questions that she wanted to ask black people who are following and protesting on the Black Lives Matter, right? And the questions are ridiculous, but, you know what they say, idle hands and blah, blah, blah. And during this lockdown, I've got nothing else to do for the next couple of weeks. So I thought, you know what, yeah, why not go for the challenge, you know what I mean? And see how it goes.
3 simple questions, and I'm not expecting an answer to any of them anytime soon.
So here's the first question.
Why do Black Lives matter more when a white person is involved? Why is it that during the weekend prior to the death of George Floyd, 10 individuals were shot down, murdered in Chicago at the hands of other black individuals, but nothing was said? And yet when a white person was involved, there are protests all over the globe. There was a gentleman shot trying to protect a store from looters and rioters. He was shot dead where he stood, lay bleeding out on the sidewalk, and no one seemed to care. Why do Black Lives matter more when a white person is involved?
Right, now, in answer to this dumb question here, yeah, right, there are two flaws in the actual question itself, to be honest with you, yeah, and the first flaw is it's the black on black crime statistic or perspective, yeah, and the reason why that's a flaw is because it's a straw man argument, right? The protests are talking about police brutality, yeah, against white officers against black people, yeah, versus, right, and the unequal justice that we face within the system, and then you have black on black crime, as in black people committing crimes against other black people. They're 2 separate things, completely. 2 separate things. I had to repeat that, yeah? So therefore, it's a straw man argument, right? Which makes her claim a fallacy, or her position false, yeah, by default, right? The true way of asking, and this is just for anyone who uses that same analogy or that same concept, yeah? The true question or the true response to police brutality of white cops against black people would be, or is, should I say, is black cops committing police brutality against innocent white people, yeah? Now, if you were to do that comparison, that would be the true comparison, yeah? But they ain't going to do that because, well, you know what them numbers are going to look like, yeah? So her first point, void. Just forget about that, yeah? Out the window. Now, the second point that she made, and I like the way that, and what I do kind of give her props for is the way that she tried to veil it, because she knew she couldn't say black on black crime, because she knew that her first point was bullshit, right? Now, Going on to the second point that she made now. Yeah. And this one is a bit deeper, and it might take a little bit of a while for some people to kind of grasp what I'm saying. But think about what she's actually saying. Yeah. Yeah. Right. If black people commit crimes against black people, yeah, then what's the issue with white people committing crimes against black people? That is what she's really saying. If you really think about what she's said, or what people who say that, who use that black on black crime, when black people talk about crimes and injustice of white people or white officers against them, and they come with that, well, black people commit crimes against black people and 10 people died, no one says nothing about that, yeah? Think about what that's really saying. It's saying that, well, if black people have committed crimes against themselves, then what does it matter if I do it? You see what I'm saying there? You see what I'm saying? Right? Now, I don't know, some people might not agree with me on that one, but that's how I see it, yeah? Now, let's move on to the second question. I have to put this little insert in here, yeah, because I felt that some people might not have got what I was grasping at, and some people will still argue that, oh, you didn't answer the question though, did you? Because the question actually was, you know, why do black people get more angry when a white person is involved, right? And in order to answer that question as a separate entity, yeah, I would say it's this. It's because of the injustice, right? It's got nothing to do with deaths and death rates and all them things there, yeah? All of that's irrelevant. It's about the injustice. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about the fact that if you go back years and years and years, yeah, and I'm not talking about slavery, I'm talking about just 10 years, 20 years or whatever, yeah? Black Lives Matter kind of manifested from the fact that as a white cop, yeah, you can kill a black person and walk, yeah? That is an injustice right there, yeah? As a white person, you could probably commit crime against a black person or kill a black person and get a slap on the wrist, yeah? Or you might do a small, you know, mediocre sentence, 5 years or whatever, and they'll find some way of justifying your actions because you were scared for your life and all them nonsense bullshit there. But then in comparison to a black person, if they commit a crime against a white person, you might as well just bury them under the jail, right? And it's because of that injustice right there as to why black people get more, as Katie would say, more angry or more whatever when a white person is involved. It's simply because of that injustice there. It's got nothing to do with crime on crime and blah, blah, blah. But I've already explained that. Carry on.
My second question is, what is it you're actually asking for? What do you want and why do you want it? You can say Black Lives Matter, you can shout systemic racism, you can give me all the sort of repeated platitudes, but none of them are actually telling me what you want. If racism is so systemic, did it only start since Trump was in power? Is it only systemic for 4 or 5 years? Or does it happen in Obama's time? If so, where were you then? What is it you're asking for? If I asked 10 of you, I'd get 10 different answers.
What is it we want? Or what is it Black Lives Matter want? Now, this has got to be what I would say the dumbest question out of all of it. But I think the only reason why she asked it is simply because she knows she's going to get a big response from it, yeah? And it's obvious what people want, yeah? To be treated equally or to be seen equally when justice is prevailed or when justice has to be done. Simple as that. That's the answer, yeah? Now, if she's talking about, oh, if you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. It depends what you ask them, yeah? And secondly, right, when you ask them, it depends on where they're coming from. So you might ask someone who's had a personal experience with the law, and they've given you their version of the story. But at the end of the day, the truth is, or should I say, at the end of the day, what we want, or what Black Lives Matter people want, is basically to be treated equally and just within the system that we all adhere to. Yeah? And I'll give an example of that.
There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Look, hello everybody. Would you like to see, this boy was with the rest of them. Sorry, young man, but there's a reason why he's not in handcuffs, and this young man is in handcuffs, and this young man is in handcuffs. Excuse me, officer, could you please explain why he's in handcuffs, the black boy is in handcuffs, this black boy is in handcuffs, they was all together, and this man is not in handcuffs. Please explain that. Explain it. Sir, can you see the difference? He's not in handcuffs, and this young boy's in handcuffs, and this young boy's in handcuffs, but they was all together. Please explain that, end food. And they say that racism is not here no more. Why?
Yeah? You see what I'm saying? And that's it. That's it. Right? That justice, that equality within the justice or within the system is what they want. They don't want to get beaten up by police, yeah, for a tail light, or they don't want to get shot by a cop for a broken tail light because the cop's asking them all kind of different questions about where they're going and what they're doing and what they're up to, which has nothing to do why they stopped them. Yeah, they don't want to get chokehold to death. Yeah, just because they dared to ask the police officer, what do you mean? When you compare to when a white person, you've seen bare videos when you see white people out there challenging, throwing knives, coming out there, waving machetes and all. I'll find the videos and put them in the links below as evidence and proof of what I'm saying. Yeah? So that's the answer to the second question. Third question, please. Before I go on to the next question, yeah, there's something very important I missed out when I was going back over the questions that she'd asked. And one thing that she pointed out is that when did Black Lives Matter? Yeah? And what she's kind of saying is that when did all of this Black Lives Matter and everything, when did it become a thing? Right? And then she goes on about, well, was it when Trump came into administration? Yeah? And, well, where was all Black Lives Matter when Obama was president? And so forth and so on, right? And to me, this is a prime example of the ignorance, yeah, of some white folks, yeah. Ben Shapiro's another one, yeah. And that is, it's hard to explain, but it's like black people have been complaining about brutality across the world, but especially in America, since the Pilgrims put their foot on that dirt, yeah. It weren't yesterday or the week before. It's been since from when. Let's make that clear, right? Comedians have been saying it, going back to Richard Pryor talking about this comedy. Watch his comedy sketch.
Police got a chokehold they use out here though, man. They choke niggas to death. That mean you be dead when they through. Right? Did you know that? Wait, the niggas going, yeah, we know white folks. No, I had no idea. I don't want to never see no more police in my life. At my house. Taking my ass to jail. For killing my car. When the police came, I went in the house. Because they got magnums too. And they don't kill cars. They kill niggas.
So, this notion that a lot of people have that police brutality is new or it's only a recent thing, get that out your head for a start, yeah? Because it's been going on since donkey's years, right? And for me, that is it's a very crucial point in explaining why some people, yeah, don't get it or don't get why black people are so upset, yeah? It's because, and I have to kind of like thank smartphones and the ability of black people to now record these incidences live. Go straight to their Facebooks and their Instagrams and their YouTubes and whatever, right? Because far too many times, in my opinion, it's all been about the evidence, yeah? And a law, an unwritten law, that I coined a phrase from Tariq Nasheed, and that is, I'm white and I say so, yeah? Because what you'll find is that a cop or a white person might make a claim against a black person, and because they're white, they are automatically by default the authority in that situation. And if the black person doesn't come up with what they consider creditable evidence, then the black person's in the wrong, or their claim is invalid. Yeah? And that, I think, is very important. The way, and a lot of people need to understand that, right? Because what you're finding now is that with all the evidence that is now coming to hand where non-white, black people, non-white people can actually prove and show you to your face, well, this is exactly what happened. You can see it now here. I've recorded it on my own camera, which I did mention in my other video. Yeah. Now it's in your face. You can't deny it. And you can't come out with or if you try to deny it, you're going to make yourself look foolish because the evidence is right there in your face. And like I said, prior to maybe 2011, 12, right, it was always going to be a case before every person had a smartphone in their hand where they could record it and say, okay, then I've got my own evidence now. It was always going to be a matter of his word versus my word. Yeah. And he's the authority, he's the superior, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, he's always going to win, or the narrative is always going to be depicted by that group. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to kind of like pencil in. Yeah. So let's continue. Right. Now, this question here is purely hypocrisy.
And finally, of course, many BLME individuals have been demanding the release of a report into coronavirus deaths. 4 times the amount of BLME individuals are impacted or have died because of coronavirus. So if you were part of that, demanding that report, #YouClapForMeNow, worrying about deaths of BLME individuals, how is it you're now out protesting in your thousands, stood next to each other, rioting, looting, without a mask, no social distancing? Either you did care before or you didn't. Either your Democrat mayors wanted you locked down for your safety, or actually now they're applauding you riot. Maybe there wasn't a problem in the first place. Why is it if BLME deaths are higher, now, today, you don't care about that anymore?
If you go through her tweets, yeah, and go through a lot of her posts, you will see her advocating for civil rights and the freedom to go outside and do what you want, and that the coronavirus is a hoax and it's bullshit and it's nothing to do, it's all fake, and it's the government trying to pin you down, and the coronavirus is a load of lies and blah, 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 blah.
So Coronabollocks continues here in the UK. You know, there's 3 big questions we have to ask. We were told, stay home, save lives, protect the NHS. And I guess the big question we should all be asking is, why?
It's all fake as far as she's concerned. Yeah, and the coronavirus is a way of trapping, or what's the word she used? Something to do with stunting on your civil rights and liberties as a citizen of whatever country you're from. And this coronavirus is just a way of, I can't think of the word right now, but it's a way of curbing it, you know what I mean? Keeping you under control.
Hundreds of protesters defy the state stay-at-home order and line the streets in front of the state capitol.
Get me liberty or get me death!
To voice their frustrations around their state's lockdown.
So, if that's her opinion about the coronavirus, when white folks are involved, how is it all of a sudden when black people go outside and protest in a mass number, right? All of a sudden coronavirus is an issue. All of a sudden coronavirus. Don't they think about coronavirus? Black people are 4 times more susceptible to the coronavirus than anybody. So how stupid of them to go outside? Now, to me, that's very hypocritical, because when your white folks are on the beaches and protesting up and down and outside of Parliament and outside of Washington, DC, talking about with their guns and shit, talking about we want our civil rights and that, coronavirus wasn't an issue then. Yeah? So now, but when black people want to do something, or when we kind of have this one day that we're going to protest and stand up for what we want to fight for, all of a sudden coronavirus is an issue. Yeah? Fuck up. Right? Now, that's my answers to the 3 questions that she asked. And all I'm asking you now is to let me know, did I answer those questions? I can't even say the word. Yeah? Did I answer them questions fairly or correctly? Or do you think that I was in the wrong, or my answers are not suitable? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm Michael Salmon. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.
Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes.